All right. Hey, Jim, thanks so much for hopping on with me today. I appreciate it.
Justine, looking forward to it on a beautiful spring morning.
Yes, it is. So we last connected when you were in our class of marketing legends last year in 2019. Catch us up. What's been going on your world since then, and what have you learned since then?
I was very honored to be a legend, so thank you for that. Seems like a long time ago,
I know,
2019.
right?
This has been one wild year, I have to say. So what's going on in my world? You know, it's still, I run a business. I advise a lot of companies. I have a small team, and we're pivoting the way we work, the way everyone else is, right? We're doing everything virtually. We're trying to be extremely helpful to our clients and to our investments. So we're doing the same kind of work. I think we're working together closer than ever. We're meeting more frequently, communicating more frequently, like everyone is. I've been doing these podcasts about leadership during crisis, during the pandemic, and everyone feels like they're closer to their people. They are putting communication front and center, giving assurance as much as they can, which we are all doing, balancing the personal and professional. So all of that is going on. The one area that I'm really doubling down on right now is this whole area of measurement, brand purpose measurement, finding ways to link purpose activation to financial results. I've been passionate about brand purpose for a long time when I was at Procter & Gamble, since I left 11 years ago. And I think the world has awoken to this concept of brand purpose. And now it's all about execution and sustaining it over time and over the years. So I think people are pretty good about bringing their purpose to life, finding their purpose. We're very, very poor at measuring it and building into and finding the causality between purpose and business results. So that's what my team and I are doubling down on. It's been our R&D project for the last 2 years. And now that we have a little bit more time to reflect as we're not traveling and running around the world, we're really, really putting a lot of time into that. We have developed a partnership with a company called Bara, which is a 6-year-old company. It's a software platform that measures brand equity and finds the linkage between brand equity and financial results. So it's not a very big leap to go to purpose. So that's what we're working on. We're finding that model and that software platform. Lots of really interesting companies are piloting with us. So that's our passion right now, finding a way to have a breakthrough in purpose measurement.
That's super interesting. I think especially reflecting on what we're all experiencing right now. I mean, I feel like I've seen so many brands just be tested. They're kind of trying to battle, how do we maintain our purpose, but also we've got to survive. So how have you seen companies balance that tension, especially over the last couple of months?
Well, I think the ones that are standing out are the ones that are staying true to who they are and what their purpose is and their values and their customers and their employees. And they are just finding new, relevant, creative ways to bring that to life in a way that's valuing their employees and their customers. So I think it's not about a 180. And I think we have a danger of purpose washing, much like we had of greenwashing, when sustainability started to get big. A lot of people say to me, it just seems like every ad looks the same, everyone's saying the same thing, and that's not necessarily a good thing. The companies, like Kroger, like Amazon, like Netflix, they're doing what they've always done, but it's like on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really trying to help people as much as they possibly can, beginning with their own employees. And I think what you're seeing from companies like Facebook, honestly, who's basically saying, I think we may be working remotely as a way of doing business. So I think the companies that are in touch with who they are, what they've always been about, and they're amplifying that, and they're doing it in the right tone of voice now with the right priorities, are the ones that are standing out and will frankly come out of this, I think, stronger and better and more purposeful and more focused and more with more conviction about their why and why they're here to serve people and to be a fabulous employer. So I think there's going to be a really interesting one. one theme I've gotten from all of the CMOs I've talked to over the last 12 weeks or so is people are reflecting more. They're thinking more. They're more balanced. So I think coming out of this, we're just going to have maybe more focused strategies, maybe more companies that are finding their special competitive advantage and doubling down on it. People are saying, well, I'm not running around as activity based as I used to be. I'm actually thinking a lot more about our why and how we bring that to life. So I'm positive about how companies are going to be coming out of this crisis. Now, obviously the crisis is we're in the middle of it,
Mm-hmm.
and people are of course worried about their health and their employment, and some people are fortunate to be working, some are not. So we have to sort through all of that, and the role of government and private enterprise. All of that's going to be up in the air. But I do feel that there is just more thought, more care, more concern, more deliberation right now, which I think is a positive thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely feel that and see that. I think there's something about even just being in the same space all day, letting yourself go for walks. It's less, it's less like playing time and more just in between where you're allowing your brain to kind of reflect and flex. And do you have any, as you're thinking about marketers and brand leaders who are kind of living in that tension right now and maybe starting to figure out their renewed competitive advantage, what recommendations do you have for them?
I think the biggest thing leaders need to do now, and actually as we come out of this, as the economy starts to warm up again, is not lose the lessons they just learned.
Mm-hmm.
So many leaders that I'm talking to, they said, we are working more quickly. We're making decisions more quickly. We're communicating a lot more with each other. We're much more agile, and we're more focused, and we're having a bigger impact. And we feel more alive, more creative. And some of the CMOs I'm talking to have entire segments of their businesses that have stopped. I mean, if you're a beverage company, an alcoholic beverage company, on premise has not been happening for the last 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So everything they're doing to be sure their supply chain and other channels is active, that they're working home delivery in areas that they were not allowed to do it, prior to the crisis. So the amount of speed and energy that's coming out of organizations, combined with this personal balance, as you just said, people are feeling it's okay to go take a walk at 11 o'clock, or it's okay to stop and, I don't know, read a chapter of a book, or to spend a bit of time with your children. So this whole kind of healthy balance of mind and body and professional and personal, I think, is something that will carry over. But I think the biggest lesson is what worked in this
Mm-hmm.
last 12 weeks with you and your team, and don't lose that as things get a little bit closer to normal.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean, I was sharing with you before we started recording. I feel like our AMA Cincinnati team has worked together so well and tried so many new things, more than we've tried in the last 9 months. And I think a lot of marketers and leaders are like, why weren't we doing that in the first place? Why did we need this feeling of crisis to kind of awaken that sort of spirit? But I mean, I think I agree with you that I really hope that we don't lose that. And I think it's a commitment from a leadership standpoint to make sure that you maintain that for sure. As you're thinking just a pivot on the conversation a little bit, I know a lot of young marketers right now are just a little bit at a crossroads with their career. Maybe they were pursuing events and that feels like a whole new ball game. And does that field even exist anymore? What should marketers be doing right now as they're looking to start their careers? What should they be thinking about?
Well, it's a tough time to be launching a career. Let's all just put that on the table.
Yeah.
And internships are going virtual, or some companies are just making interns offers and not doing the internship this summer. which is wonderful, but it does not give them a chance to have an experience with a company. So I would say that this is always important. It's more important now than ever to understand yourself when you're at your best, when you're happiest, what kind of work are you doing, and still pursue that. And if companies are not interviewing right now, do everything you can to learn about the company. This is basic, not surprising information, but use the time. Use the time to your advantage. Use your time. You're in some ways you're in a pause in your life. So take advantage of that pause and sharpen your saw and ensure that your story is right, that you're focused in the area you want to be focused in and not because of something someone wants you to do. And find all kinds of creative ways to still make connections, build your network. My son is a business school. He's graduating from business school this year, and he had someone from his undergraduate school reach out to him and ask him about the choice he's making in for his first job, what he's learned, and that sort of thing is wonderful. And so this is the time to do that. The economy in some areas is stronger than ever. If you want to go into some essential services, if you are interested in home care, food and beverage, some areas of retail, delivery, these things are going through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So there are areas of the economy where people are hiring like mad. And so if that's what you're interested in, there's lots of opportunity. If it's something like events, or if it's something where the business has kind of stalled, a lot of travel, hospitality, I think you just have to figure out, are you still really interested in that? And if you are, don't give up. It's going to come back. It's going to come back in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's, Delta will fly again. It's different right now, but they will fly again because it's a basic human need to travel, to explore, to be together. And so I think it's, as a young person, don't be discouraged, but don't duck the fact that this is one of the tougher years in the last 20 years to be starting your career, but flip that on its head. Figure out a way to make that time for you to be more thoughtful and to be sure that when you are focusing your career effort, it's exactly the one that you think you want to pursue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've been reflecting a lot on just the pivots and the shifts that people, both young marketers kind of shifting even just their plans for the summer, to more experienced marketers who have been completely pivoting and shifting their strategy and how they get their work done. And I feel like we've been trying to just celebrate those. We actually introduced a new category for our Pinnacle Awards this year called
I saw
Best
that.
Pivot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just interested to know, from your just own career, what are some of the pivots and shifts that you've experienced and you've had in your own career that you've learned the most from?
I think where I've learned the most is when the rug is pulled out from under you, from something that you would never call it the black swan, whatever it might be. And I think you learn there how, what you're made of and what your team is made of. When Procter & Gamble sent me to Eastern Europe, it was the first time I had worked outside the United States. First time I became a general manager versus a marketing director. First time my family had such a dramatic experience. And so I was thrown into a situation where everything was new. I had multi-functions reporting to me. I was responsible for the company in 2 countries. The country's economies were evolving, so I had to deal with fraud, with theft, with cash problems. So kind of all my paradigms were kind of upended, and I didn't have a strong network as I did in the US to deal with that. And I felt like I was in my zone then. I was closer to my team, that we were agile, we were responding well, we were close, we were having fun,
Mm-hmm.
we were energetic, even when times were tough, because we were together in this. So it's a lot of the same principles that are happening now. I think teams are getting closer together because, in a way, everything is new. And so I think those are really, really healthy experiences. We have business pivots. And of course that happens when your business goes sideways. And I've been of a lot of those situations when I was at P&G, and after that, I've been helping companies whose business goes sideways. That's a forced pivot. And the old adage, never waste a good crisis. A lot of people are doing that right now. They're trying to make the best of this and to do things that they meant to do anyway, and now they're putting more urgency to it. And then there's personal pivots, right, which can happen when a crisis hits your personal life, and it's the same principles. Resilience is so important. I think it's the key factor in a happy life, because we all go through ups and downs professionally and personally, and it's all about coming back and finding ways to be resilient, and I'm not being cavalier about that. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the people that I've found who are most happy and most productive and most successful in their life are those that have found a way to be resilient, and in some ways look to others who are resilient for inspiration. And for the young people listening, that's just the most important thing to have, because if you're 22 or 25 or 28 and you're starting your career, believe me, it's going to have ups and downs. And just find ways to learn from everything, and keep your head up, keep your confidence. When you lose your confidence, it all starts to come apart. And I've been in situations like that in my career where, my confidence was shaky, and it was always someone who said something to me, or a boss that supported me, or a teammate who lifted me up. And, so resilience is, I think, a skill you can build, but it is a state of mind.
Mm-hmm. It's
Sorry to get so
muscle.
philosophical there, but
it's great. I mean, I think I was reflecting just on my own experiences, and I just agree with you. And I feel like it's kind of a muscle that, you never want to use, but when you do, it just gets stronger and stronger. And so, well, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure
I
others are
enjoyed
going
it,
to appreciate it
Justine.
as well.
Stay out, keep hiking, stay outdoors.
Yes, will do. You too.
I sure